Good evening, viewers. Here's a video that I was planning on doing for a while now, but I never had the proper voltage until now with this 2400 volts Siemens transformer made in Germany. And this is a voltage comparison of a 480 volts versus 2400 volt versus 7620, the voltages that my power company uses. These here are a whole bunch of old 2400 volt insulators I've collected. These here are the most common. I call these the rotten teeth insulators. This one here was in a came out of power lines that ran through the woods, and were taken out when they were building new houses, and they upgraded the lines. So this insulator, even though it has some cracklature on the bottom just from the age, and I don't know if something hit this a while ago, but this is 1944. This is another old block insulator. Victor, these are pretty popular. These are occasional. PECO doesn't really use black insulators, but occasionally you'll see a few of these. And then these pretty rare lap insulators, and I think that these are made in Germany also. But I call these the rotten teeth insulator because you can see when they get older and they're out in the open, they get a disgusting yellow-orange film on them. So I'm starting to get it from the corrosion of the copper wire. So here's a 13200 volt insulator. It came off a 13200 system. As you can see, it's massive compared to those ones. Old cutout. These are pretty popular on the 2400 volt lines. These are patented January 16th .12. I assume that is not 2012. So bolt onto the cross arm above the transformer, and they have a cartridge fuse in there. I don't have any cartridges, unfortunately. This is the best one that I have. Well, these break real easy just because of the age. You can see this one's a little broken. And then a 7620, they started using these new epoxylator cutouts, and compared to the old ones, it's pretty impressive. But to begin with, I'm going to start with 480 volts because in the city of Philadelphia they use 480 volts to power the commercial loads, and then 240 for residential, but they have a pole pig that has a high voltage of 480 and it steps it down to 240. So I'm going to try some 480 volt arcs first. I know in Southern California they actually run 120 240 on a cross arm, but 480 is the lowest voltage that they run on the cross arms. So starting off with 480. I'm not going to look at this because it is very bright, and it melts the nail right away. And now I'm looking at the ceiling and I'm already getting arc eyes from that. Now, I think it's time to try 2400 volts. You can see that's almost as bright as 480, so you can't even look at it, you'll get arc eyes. voltages. You can see it's melting the steel tip on the nail, so there's definitely a lot more current. And the more current, the hotter the arcs are. Time for the grand finale arcs. 13200 by 7620. You might be able to hear the transformer gently humming, which is pretty fantastic. But here we go. You can see the arcs are a lot duller and a little bit longer than with 2400 volts. And now I have 2400 volts on that insulator, and as you can tell, there is no corona whatsoever. So let me add some water and see what happens. I have a 7500 class volts glove on, so it should protect from any electrical shocks. And underneath, insulators are supposed to be able to isolate from 360 degree contamination. So that's a good insulator, no corona whatsoever. And now 2400 volts on this insulator, and I've never tested this insulator on a 2400 volts, so I'm curious to see how it's going to perform. See, it definitely has some audible corona. And now 2400 volts on this cutout fuse. As you can see, nothing is happening right away, but and we got some visible corona. Pretty interesting. Well, I assume that these are not designed to be sprayed in with water. As you can see, it's fairly drenched with water in there. It's about a good millimeter at least on the bottom there, and it's just some slight corona forming. And 7620 volts on this small insulator. It's relatively dry, and you can hear some audible corona forming on it already. See what happens if we douse it down in water. It does not sound too happy. It really sounds as if the corona is forming under there. Now here is 7620 volts on a 2400 volt fuse cutout. see that corona goes pretty far back in there. And it's all dried out now, so that is all just surface corona on the porcelain up there. Definitely do not want to get close to that. You can see there's a huge difference in what 2400 and 7620 volts can jump across. Big fuse cut out. The bottom is ground and that top there is energized with 7620 volts. Just spray it down with water. And as you can see, there is no corona whatsoever. It's pretty impressive, but once again, this is rated for 7620 volts. So. And another relatively dry insulator. As you can hear, there's some very minor audible corona when it's dry. And this insulator, since it does have some bigger sheds, it definitely is a lot better than the other one. But you just here, wouldn't really want to be putting a 13200 volt system on poles with these insulators. And last but not least, I have got a proper sized insulator on there. And it is a radio treated insulator, unlike the older ones. As you can hear, this is dry and there is no corona whatsoever. Right down. And it's really soaked and still not even a slight buzz. But that's it for this video. Catch you in the next one.